where leadership isn't loud, but it is lasting. I'm Todd Robatin, and this is episode 12, Quiet Leadership. Today, we're exploring another paradox. How do the quietest voices often lead the loudest change? Because influence isn't always about charisma. Sometimes it's about character. Let's talk about this myth of the big personality. We've been conditioned to believe that leaders must be bold, outspoken, magnetic, that volume equals vision, and presence equals performance. But what if the real paradigm shifters are the ones who speak less and mean more? Low key leaders don't dominate rooms, but they do transform them by how they show up, not what they say. They don't need to be the loudest voice, but they need to have the clearest presence. And that's what makes the difference. Here's what quiet influence looks like: it's the leader who listens first, then speaks with precision, a teammate who models consistency, not just confidence. It's the mentor who shifts culture by embodying values, not enforcing them. You see, these leaders, they don't need applause. They seek alignment. They don't look for attention. They earn trust. And they create change by being the change that they seek and see a need for. Because quiet influence, it isn't passive, it's intentional, it's strategic, and it's deeply relational. I once worked with a leader who rarely raised his voice, but when he did speak, the room leaned in. But why? Because his words, they were earned, not just heard. He didn't speak to impress or to get a lot of applause. He only spoke to invite people into the conversation. He didn't push them, he pulled them towards their purpose. And his influence, it wasn't his volume, it was his integrity. And that's quiet influence. It's not about being invisible and just being in the corner, but no one knows you're there. It's about being undeniable without being loud. It's about being respected without being applauded. And here's the truth: quiet leaders shift these paradigms because they lead from within. They don't chase attention, they cultivate trust. And in a world full of noise and distractions, their silence becomes their strategy. With that, here are today's humble truths. Number one, influence isn't volume, it's value. What you contribute matters more than how loud you deliver it. Number two, low key leaders shift culture by embodying it. They don't just preach values, they practice them consistently. And number three, quiet does not mean weak, it means wise. Silence can be strength, stillness can be a strategy, and yes, presence can be power. Now let those settle because, again, these are not just ideas and fun things to think about, they're invitations for reflection. Think, where are you leading quietly right now? And what paradigm are you shifting? Not just by being in the room, but by being who you are every single day. And what if your presence is the message that you are influencing right now? Now, let's make this real. Here's a practice you can try this week, especially if you're someone who leads quietly or maybe you want to. We'll call this one the Quiet Influence Inventory. So before your next meeting, conversation, decision, ask yourself these few questions. What energy am I bringing into this space, into this conversation, into this project? Is it grounded? Is it reactive? Is it intentional? Is it strategic? What do I want people to feel, not just hear from me in this moment? Because influence is emotional before it's intellectual. And how can I model the values that I care about without needing to explain them and force them onto others? How can I let my behavior speak louder than my words? And then after the moment passes, simply reflect. Did you actually do the things that you sought out to do? Were you present? Were you giving space? Did you actually give emotional intelligence through your influence? Or were you just a sounding clang in the meeting? Did you bring presence or performance? Did you listen more than you spoke? Did you leave the space truly better than you found it? Now, this inventory, it's a lot, but it's not about perfection or overthinking everything. You'll go down a rabbit hole and you'll never be able to get out if you go that way. But it is about alignment because quiet influence begins with a self awareness that's stronger than any performance you can put on. And it grows through constant consistency, both in your own internal values and how you portray them. And here's a bit of a bonus move. Before you speak, ask yourself, what's the one sentence I want to be remembered for today? Not the clever line, not the polished pitch, just the honest to goodness truth. That one sentence that reflects your values, your intention, your leadership. And then pause and say it slowly. Say it clearly and let it echo. Because quiet influence, well, it isn't about saying more, it's about saying what matters. Next time, we'll explore how the power of small intentional choices made by humble leaders echo far beyond the moment. But for today, lead softly, influence deeply, and remember, quiet doesn't mean invisible, it means intentional with humility. Thanks for joining me today on another episode of The Humble Throne.